What I miss? What did I miss? We are live. I think. I pray. I'm not sure anymore. Of course, it's one of my lives. So of course I'm. What the kickoff's like 1:45, right? Ben, is that right? Let us know if you can hear us. All right. Because it's YouTube. I had to go off what I
Yeah,
normally
yeah.
use, so you can hear me okay. But can the people obviously watching? Can you guys hear me as well? I pray that you can. I pray that you can. We're going to give it a go. We'll see if my computer can handle it. I've ordered a new computer, so that's on the way. And obviously, we've also got the football going on at the same time. West Brom are playing Queen's Park Rangers, which is a game I'm watching. And then, of course, we've got Brentford looking to get themselves in the top division as well. And I think I'm basically just going to leave it on this screen that we have here now so that I'm not putting any more undue pressure onto the stream because there's enough pressure going on with the football. Ben is a Preston North End fan. You have nothing to play for. Nothing. So it's good that you're here because I think you're generally quite neutral anyway. But
Literally, it's the only game going on, I think, where nothing's on it at all.
I know. Which is, I mean, are you okay with
Yeah.
that? I guess you're gutted with that deep down, aren't you?
Yeah, realistic. I still feel a bit nervous, even though we got nothing to play for, because we'll be losing 3 teams from the league. I feel a bit of a. I've got a bit of investment in every team, I'd say, because I'm covering the championship and things like that. So
Yeah. So, I mean, anyone who's watching right
we'll
now.
see how today goes.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can keep an eye on that. I'm going to get my phone off the Wi-Fi, obviously, so that we can watch it. And I just thought there was so much going on. It just felt like it was. Ooh, West Brom nearly scoring there. So in terms of the timings of everything, we are 14 minutes in on the games. I've got both of them on my screens. I don't know what you've got. Leeds United have just got a goal against Charlton, which is bad news for Charlton. Were you expecting Charlton? Actually, in your predictions, you said that Charlton might get something today, didn't you?
I did. I think they're unbeaten in like the last 8 trips to Ellen Road or something like that. They got a really good record against Leeds, and to be honest, Charlton have got a bit about them. But if Leeds get an early goal, it's tough to come back from there. At Ellen Road, especially, it's very tough.
Yeah, they've been brilliant at home. QPR are obviously in a very, very weird position. So if there's any QPR fans in the chat, it'd be interesting to know what you guys think about the situation at hand. QPR are obviously. I don't know what we're trying to do, to be honest. Like, even it's all a bit of a mess. Even our kit, we're wearing mint green with our normal blue shorts and then mint green socks again. Like, we're all a bit confused, QPR fans, right now, because Brentford could still go up, obviously. Fulham could still go up. The 2 West London derbies that we have this season, both teams can still go up. And Brentford in particular are the team that kind of a lot of people are going to be keeping an eye out on. But they'll need to keep an eye out on Barnsley as well, who have been, since the restart, have been quite impressive, haven't they? Are you there, Ben?
I do want to interrupt you there, James, but Preston have just scored, so the important game going on, we've just scored.
Oh, that's good.
Surely Maguire, but it's the battle for mid-table. It's what everyone's after today. To be fair, this game's been played at a decent tempo, but go on, what did you say? Sorry, I was concentrating on the game.
No, it's fine. So I was just saying, Leeds have got Barnsley. Brentford have got Barnsley, and that's a weird one in itself, isn't it? Because Barnsley, actually, you would imagine are rubbish, but they're not rubbish. They're actually a good side. Now, we always talk about it on the podcast I do, Great Touch for Big Lad, where we talk about that there's a few teams most seasons, teams that are generally down the bottom, teams with a small wage budget, teams that aren't a huge threat to a lot of other teams, although they beat us recently, the first game after the restart. But a lot of people like Barnsley and kind of what they're about, and they're hoping that they can do something. And actually, they're not as bad as their place in the division would suggest, are they?
Oh, no, not at all. I remember the game where they went to Ellen Road, they probably gave Leeds one of the best games that Leeds have had this season, to be honest. They got really unlucky with that. I think they had more possession, more shots than a lot of other teams have had. They just don't have that striker. But they do have some very good individuals there at Barnsley. A couple who I wouldn't mind at Preston at all. But no, yeah, they've. I think in my predictions, I went through where each team would be placed if all my predictions came true. I think Barnsley were like 14th or something like that. So I think I've always overshot them a little bit. But no, they play some good football.
Yeah. So let's get into these games a little bit. Let's see QPR. Honestly, this is not the way I wanted to do this, because I haven't had a chance to see what is going on at all with the R's at this point. I know the only thing I've seen is I've seen a couple of moments of us defending and hanging in there, and otherwise we seem okay at the moment. Let me know in the chat how have the games been so far. I'm just gonna get this up on my phone just so that I can see it. Because we're a funny old team. We are a funny old team. I'm pleased Eze's playing
Oh yeah,
today.
you are.
Obviously, he's absolutely integral to us. But we have, and Bright Say Samuel, I think I see up there up top. That's pretty interesting. I saw that in one of your videos today as well. That he's one that, see, this is the problem with QPR. We're going to get decimated. I think you would imagine that the money's really not there, and so we're going to need to find that cash from somewhere. And so there are assets. This is the sort of the good thing and the bad thing about QPR is that, look, you're trying to. The whole point of the team is to be a bit smarter than, or the club, sorry, to be smarter than we used to be. Buy players on the cheap and sell them for a bit more. But at the same time, that's not going to work again and again and again and again. So you kind of have to you've got to keep one or two, or you need to be ready and good to go. A bit like Brentford. Brentford are the model now, aren't they? That's what people want to sort of need to do.
Oh yeah.
Buy on the cheap and sell them for a bit more. But I guess there's a few teams that are around that same kind of level. Would you put Preston in that same kind of bracket where you're sort of?
Yeah, I was, and there's a bit of a worry about Preston at the moment that this season felt a bit like it was now or never with this squad, because a lot of players that we got in this team will be heading into 12 months left on the contracts after this season. So I think there's Ben Pearson, Daniel Johnson, Alan Brown, Josh Harrop, Ben Davis, a lot of big first team players who are heading into the last 12 months. And obviously, a club like Preston, just hit the bar. You've either got to decide at this point.
So just before you carry on,
you tie them down.
Just before you carry on, just to be clear, so Ben is watching Preston. So if you hear it all and you're watching Brentford, I'm watching Brentford, Barnsley, and West Brom QPR. The other thing is, because there are so many big games that are important here, keep talking to us in the chat so that we know what's going on elsewhere, and if you're watching those games, and let us know in the chat so that we can talk about it, because you're all gonna get a bit confused when Ben's going and because it's for the Preston game. So yeah, don't worry too much about that. But yeah, sorry mate, carry on. There are those sort of mid-table Premier Championship clubs.
Yeah, so there's a lot of players that are running out of contract at Preston. It felt a bit like this was the season to do it with this group of players, and obviously a club like ours can't be allowing these people to leave in the free. So there's the worry that your big names like your Ben Pearsons, your Alan Brown will be leaving in the summer.
Yeah, of course. And I guess there's oh God, it's a car crash in the Brentford game at the moment. There's about 5, 6, 7, 8 players down at the moment. This Brentford side has been sort of 15 years in the making, this Brentford team. And tonight could be the moment where it all comes together. Luton losing, Forest are losing at the moment. Forest, Forest need to be super, super careful. Because if Forest fall out, at the moment, we've got the live table there. You can see it in front of you. 70, both on 70 points with the Swansea game going on, obviously, as well at the moment. If Forest drop out of those playoff positions, in their last game, I was hearing that they played a sort of 3 at the back and tried something quite different. I think Michael Dawson played as part of the back 3. And if that goes wrong for them and they find themselves sneaking out, I mean, they should be okay. Or was it Swansea winning? Is it still got to be a bit of a freakish change for Forest to get themselves in it? Or it needs to be a 3-goal swing, so it's plus
3 goals, yeah.
Plus 7 goal difference at the moment for Nottingham Forest. For Swansea, and plus 10 for Nottingham Forest. So if it keeps going, Stoke City obviously playing with a bit more relief now and starting to understand how O'Neill wants to play them. Did you see the Stoke City Brentford game?
Yeah, I could not believe West Brom got a second chance. I thought that was them completely done out of it. But Stoke under O'Neill they've been all right. They've gone under the radar a little bit. I think since he's come in, they're about 10th in the form table or something like that. So if Forest concede early today, it'll be very tough for them to get back into it.
Yeah, well, I watched both games. I watched the West Brom Huddersfield game, and then I watched the Stoke Brentford game. And for me, they were pretty much carbon copies in terms of the sort of the bottling it almost of the two
Yeah.
teams that were expected to win, and the sort of dealing of that pressure. West Brom has slowly been kind of falling away in terms of their performances a little bit, and in that game they were after about, it was honestly, because I remember looking at the clock and thinking, you know, God, they're rushing a lot here. They're sort of, you could feel the panic
Yeah.
through the TV screen, and there was a moment. There's a moment where Bilic just shouted at his players, and I looked at the clock and it was 71 minutes, and he was shouting, "Calm, calm,"
Yeah, I remember.
because they were just so anxious to get themselves a goal. And the championship being the championship, it's, you know, you will get one or two chances, so you can play like Huddersfield have played, and you will still get one or two moments, and it's if you can take them, and they did.
Yeah.
And then the next day, Stoke City Brentford, it felt really, really similar, didn't it?
It was just typical of the Championship because Brentford have been flawless for the last 8 matches. They've played some ridiculously good football. Like, their front three is something else for this league. And even going, like, defensively, they've been outstanding this season. I think that's what set them apart from Brentford last season. But no, I couldn't believe it. When they conceded, I just thought it's going to be a 1-0 this. They're not getting back into it.
Yeah. The weird thing for Stoke, what I spotted from the Stoke Brentford game was that Stoke City played almost three defensive midfielders. If you imagine your normal formation, you'd have one guy there or maybe a double pivot. They're just showing a goal here, by the way. Leeds United's goal against Charlton. Crossing from the right, not cleared totally. Oh! Edge of the box! And it's come out. He's chested it and smashed it in the top right-hand corner. Who was that? Not sure who scored that goal. I'll just get it up here. Maybe you guys can let me know. That was unbelievable. What a strike. Chest it on the edge of the box. Right boot, top right-hand corner. Unbelievable. What a goal. Leeds, what? They've done it. It's like, you know, I expected the Derby game, surely they'd lose that. You could see all the Snapchats. They'd all been on the piss for 3 days.
Yeah.
But yeah, God. Sorry, I just want to see who scored that goal. Oh, White. Is that not Ben White, was it? What? Ben White, so the centre back. Although he plays defensive midfield, doesn't he? Sometimes, Ben White.
Yeah, he can step out. Yeah, there'll be a lot of interest in him in the summer, you'd imagine.
I think, yeah. I mean, that's one of the master strokes. It's just showing it up at the moment as well. Obviously, West Brom currently 1 point ahead of Brentford. Fulham 2 points off West Brom in 4th place at the moment. Brentford have obviously got the goal difference on them as well. Yeah, tell me about Ben White, because I think Pontus Jansson is obviously playing for Brentford, who could miss out for a second year in terms of being second or third. When he moved, there was a lot of people who were very, very annoyed with that transfer. But sort of Ben White quietly came in.
Yeah.
He's been amazing for him, isn't he?
Yeah, I remember it well because Bielsa's a manager as well who doesn't really do a lot of squad depth. So you're coming as a Bielsa player and like you're in the team for the rest of the year. Like they've had that partnership between him and Cooper, which has been so good throughout the year as a ball playing centre half. He probably has been the standout one in the Championship this year. And then apart from those two, they've had like Berardi who could step in, Calvin Phillips maybe into centre back, but no, it's just been a masterstroke by Bielsa. I'd like to see him playing for Leeds in the Premier League, to be honest, but they might not get him.
Yeah, I mean, so what's his deal with Brighton then? He's got, you know, has he come through the ranks at Brighton, or did they get him from somewhere else?
I think he came through at Brighton. I might be wrong on that, but Graham Potter has come out and said that, you know, he's in our plans for next season, so we'll have to watch it. But I wouldn't be at all surprised to see like a top 4 club coming for him. Maybe I think he could go all the way. Yeah.
I guess the difficulty here is the kind of the sort of
as a ball player in the Premier League.
Yeah,
once he gets that experience,
the romanticism of Leeds as well is something that I'm a touch cynical about. I think as the years go by, and like for example, say Norwich City, like right at the start of the season. Luton apparently have scored a goal. Just to say, by the way, sorry, 26 minutes I'm on. Just turned 27 minutes in the West Brom QPR game. And Brentford Barnsley, it's 26 minutes at the moment. And actually, this first half, if it can get to 0-0 into the second half, that's when we're going to have a lot of fun in the second half watching these games, because it's going to be it's going to be chaotic. It's going to be really, really chaotic. I'll talk about QPR in just a second. Luton, I think, have scored, by the way. Leeds have scored as well. But yeah, when it comes to Leeds, Norwich City. At the start of the season, Norwich City had a couple of good results, didn't they? And we had Jack Reeve, who's got a Talk Norwich City YouTube channel.
Oh yeah,
really, great broadcaster, great producer, great content creator. He's class. And he came on the podcast and he was so confident. He was thinking top 10, and he was going, look, we are going to lose some games. We're going to pump some teams as well along the way. Someone said Brentford scored in the chat. It's not come up on my game just yet. That will be interesting if that happens. But yeah, so with Leeds going up, as good as they've been, Norwich City, Norwich sort of, it waned, didn't it, as time went on? Maybe the difference might be that Leeds have got a bit more money in their pocket that they can use, and Bielsa's contacts can maybe bring in some players as well. What are your thoughts on Leeds? Do you see them kind of carrying it on? Are they more a Sheffield United in terms of the fact that they kind of play a little bit differently, or are they more like a Norwich City? Where do you see them?
I think because with a club like Norwich, I think they got the investment wrong in the summer, really, in terms of where they didn't really do much of that. Like, you look at that Leeds squad, and Bielsa has got absolutely every ounce out of every single player. Like, the core group of players that he's been working with were there before he came in. It's not like Leeds have been money rolled. And I think Bielsa is the difference. Like, if you compare a Leeds to a Norwich, they both play fantastic football in the Championship. What makes me think that Leeds will be able to make that step up is Bielsa. I remember they had Arsenal in the Cup. I think it was the FA Cup.
Yeah,
Leeds put out like a second string team or something like that. They were pressing them to death. And whether they can keep it up for a full season in the Prem, like you say, Norwich can pull off a one-off result, but there's something a little bit different about this Leeds side, I'd say.
QPR got a free kick in a dangerous area. Ryan Manning, who is a centre midfielder for us, sort of by trade, I guess, and he's kind of made his way into being a left back for us. He's been brilliant this season. Apparently, West Ham are keeping an eye on him, as is West Ham looking at Eze. Those are the two players standing over this free kick at the moment. As we approach 30 minutes, he played it out wide to Bright Save Samuel, which feels like a bit of a waste to me. They put it back. Manning's brought it in, and they've dealt with it pretty comfortably. And Brentford are on the attack down the other end now, actually. I don't know how far behind that I am, actually. And with the chat, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to react to goals being scored, because I saw a few people going, took the bait. So I've got to be careful, got to be aware of the chat at all times. But yeah, I think this, obviously the second half of both of these games, we can run through the games now. It's actually coming along the stream. Birmingham losing 1-0 to Derby. Bristol City losing 1-0 to Preston. Ben's happy about that. Cardiff winning 1-0. Leeds 2-0 up. Luton drawing 1-0. Millwall, Huddersfield, which is another game that means nothing, I think. Nottingham Forest losing to Stoke, and Swansea beating Reading. Reading are a funny old team. You could, in terms of sort of there being a bit of a goal swing, Reading's not the worst team that you could play in terms of a team that are mid-table, have got nothing to play for. I've certainly seen that with QPR over the last 4 or 5 years. Like, so many times in those last few games, you just sort of they try out the kids, and QPR have done it. QPR have been a huge frustration to all QPR fans over the last few weeks, because looking at our fixtures,
the break came at a bit of a bad time for you, didn't it?
It did. Could we just beat
you? You were on such a good run.
Yeah.
It was the last game I watched. You were unreal that game.
Yeah, and at times we've been brilliant. Like, and that's the thing. Like, people talk about Warburton, and there's a couple of people saying, there's no accountability. Actually, one of our legends, Kevin Gallen, talking about accountability. I think he was focusing on the director of football, Les Ferdinand, and the chief executive, Lee Hughes, more so than Mark Warburton. But some people kind of having a go at Warburton. And I think I had a Twitter exchange with someone who was talking about saying he had to go. We should have been in the top 6. And I've got come on, you got to sort of. Football fans can be so expectant sometimes, and you will know this, mate. It's such a slow process if you haven't got the cash.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for Preston coming up, I think we did a lot better than I thought a lot of fans thought we would in our first few seasons back up from League One. We finished 11th 2 seasons in a row. Even that on our budget was a massive achievement. And then from then on, it is very, if you're not spending the money, it's very slow strategic progress year on year, especially for a club like QPR.
Yeah, because I mean, because the Preston the Preston models, I hear a lot about like there's very few scouts. Like it's all done kind of. It's quite. Is it quite an old school method that's done at Preston? Like, 'cause the squad's quite small, right?
Yeah, we do. It's got a lot bigger over the last couple of years, but it is investing in those younger players from League One, League Two, and Ireland. We don't really venture out further than that. Like we don't have any European scouts dotted all over or anything like that. And it's all about just training these players up. Like if you look at what our starting 11 would have cost today compared to Bristol City, who we're up against, so we're obviously fighting in very similar parts of the table. We pay peanuts for most of these. Daniel Johnson, who's just won our Player of the Year, 50 grand for him. And then, a majority on frees and loans and things like that.
I think they're just showing the bottom of the table. Barnsley, as it stands, 47 points. Okay. The R's have scored. I don't know how to feel about that. I do not know how to feel right now. Oh, no. But yes.
I can't believe that.
Oh, Ryan Manning, who scored. Oh no, I don't know how to feel. It's a block shot, the left back up there, and literally from a pretty much the exact position that he scored a pretty flaky goal against Millwall at the weekend. He's done the exact same in the exact same corner. It's a better strike this time into the bottom right hand corner with that one little left foot that he's got. Brentford fans will be absolutely delighted. Slaven Bilic gets rid of the sweat from his brow. He's pretty nervous, and I'm not surprised because they need to sort themselves out. I mean, one goal will do it at the moment. There haven't been too many chances for West Brom down the other end, and this is the thing that I haven't really kind of spoken about because obviously we had a bit of a nightmare getting live. But this QPR team can score some goals, and especially against a team that's going to be a little bit tentative, which is what I saw against Huddersfield at the weekend. I'm not surprised. Brentford going to second place at the moment. Oh no! This is difficult. This is difficult right now.
I wouldn't know how to feel in your position. If it was like Preston and Blackpool doing this and the roles were reversed, this is a sticky situation you're in.
It's so sticky. And do you know what? I said to one of my best friends in the world, all I want is for him to be happy, is a Brentford fan. And he asked, he said, hoping for the victory or whatever. And I was like, to be honest, we've got nothing to play for. I don't mind Brentford going up. I just don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to play a part in it. But there's nothing I can do about that now. So, I mean, it's okay if I'm sure there's a way. I'm sure there's a way we can spin this if we start getting some banter from Brentford fans. Oh, but West Brom through. Charlie Austin. Oh, no, not Charlie Austin. Sorry, Livermore. There's a foul. So, yeah, QPR going to the lead. Yeah, because I was kind of, like I say, I was doing a stream earlier for Football Manager, and I was saying, look, I'll kind of talk about it when I get to it. Like that. So there was a lot of talk about QPR fans and what they should be doing. Should there be West Brom fans tonight? And I get it. I do get it, mate. Like it's the point is are you allowing Brentford to become a proper rival here? That's the thing with Brentford, because QPR, deep down, I was brought up on the rivalry being Chelsea, but obviously Chelsea are a long, long way away from QPR these days. We can't get kind of near them. So naturally, like, and this is one of the good things about football, is that you kind of new storylines occur, new annoyances occur, and that is Brentford. Brentford have become that team. That this was a League Two team not long ago, and they've played really good football. They've got a great model. They are a smaller club, so that's slightly irritating as well. And now they are on the brink of being in the Premier League. So it has become a bit of a sticking point. And we always, mate, the amount of times I've been to QPR away and we get pumped. It does my head in. I'm so pleased they're getting a new ground, just so I don't have to go to Griffin Park and get destroyed again. I can't handle it. So there is annoyance when it comes to
I'm
Brentford.
good. I never got to go to Griffin Park.
Oh really? I've been to Brentford a lot, obviously. Yeah, through
Yeah,
mate,
one of the few I've not done.
Yeah, because and you
Yeah.
can always get a ticket because it's never sold out. But but yeah, and there's a pub on each corner. Like it's cracking. It is cracking. It's a good place.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that's. I mean, I just need a Barnsley goal now. That's what we need. That's the perfect one. If we win, but Barnsley win, that's the dream. And currently it's 0-0. Dear. Oh no.
Well, even Fulham could go up as well, couldn't they? But are they losing to Wigan still?
Let's have a look.
Kiefer Moore, yeah.
Yeah, Kiefer Moore. Link with us, actually, as well.
Oh,
You want him, don't you?
I really want him at Preston. He'd perfectly fit. So we've lacked a striker like that, funnily enough, since we sold Jordan Hugill to West Ham. We just lack that because so many of our goals come from midfield. We need that pivot to play off up front. You know, we've gone with Maguire there this season. We've sort of started to utilise Stockley a little bit more in that role, but someone like Kiefer Moore would be a game changer for us.
How good's Stockley? I can't figure him out. He comes. There's so many players in the Championship that come on and you go, like he looks scary, but often a lot of them flatter to deceive. I think Mitrovic, 26 goals, is probably the only striker I can think of who's like that. I mean, Matt Smith, you know what you're going to get at Millwall. Perfect signing for Millwall, by the way. He'll get you some points on his own. His stats are absolutely incredible. I've never seen someone win headers like he does. But is Stockley that kind of player? Has he got a little bit more to him or not?
He's a decent plan B last 10-minute option sort of player, if I'm honest. I think that if you're starting in, week out in the Championship, when you want to play sort of this like pressing kneel ball football, as I'll call it, he doesn't really fit in. League One, I think he'd be a really good option, but we picked him up from Exeter, and he is what he is. If you play to his strengths, he can be decent, but 9 times out of 10, the game that we play doesn't really suit him. But he has been very good since lockdown, I must say.
Oh, it's dropped for Barnsley. Oh! Come on, Barnsley! Yes! Barnsley 1, Brentford 0. It's all coming to plan. Right, blow the whistle, final whistle, that'll do. Happy days. Oh, it could all turn around, but just for a second, I'm going to enjoy it. I can't see this lasting, but can you believe it? West Brom need a win. Brentford need a win. Both playing at home. Both losing 1-0 at the moment, and it's a cracking finish. Didn't clear the lines. Not sure what happened there. And then it's dropped to, forgive me, number 20. Not sure who that is. I'm sure they'll tell me in a second. Here we go. Styles. Not that one. Oh, Eze just did this beautiful little turn here. He's something. But wow, God, I don't think any Brentford fan expected this. And I know Brentford fans will be in the club in the pub around Griffin Park. Oh, and it could have been a penalty, I think they were saying as well. Maybe got away. Ethan Pinnock with a handball there. Wow, and importantly for Barnsley,
this league is ridiculous.
Importantly for Barnsley, that puts them up to third bottom. Brentford are now third in the league. They will be playing in the playoffs if it stays as it does now. The next 5 minutes in both of these games, very, very, very important. And, handball, surely. Handball in the West Brom game, yeah. Thomas Frank, who generally, when it's been going wrong in the last couple of games when I've watched him, is a lot calmer than Slaven Bilic. They're showing both managers simultaneously here.
Yeah.
Bilic trying to kind of keep it together, understandably so. It's very difficult to break these teams down. Barnsley, so much energy. When they played us, there's so much energy. They didn't have much quality, but they had a very, very smart and clever game plan. So they're still getting relegated at the moment. And I think Wigan with... So I don't know, how did Barnsley get out of it? I guess it's Luton. Luton winning. That's the thing. Right, interesting. So Luton 2-1 up. Luton need to, if they start drawing, that'll be 2 points off them. Have they got a better goal difference? Barnsley have got a better goal difference to Luton. So, wow, we said it was going to be crazy. It is going to be crazy. It is all set up for a cracking second half. If you're enjoying yourselves, hit the like button if you want us to do more of these. When I get my new PC, which I've ordered, then we won't be late all the time. Then hit the like button for me and let me know what you're thinking in the chat. This is nice. A bit of championship. You know, I know Liverpool is a big day for them. I understand that. But it's a big day in the championship. West Brom! It's 1-1.
Oh.
It's 1-1. I don't know how to feel. What am I supposed to feel? Oh, it's a good finish through the legs of Joe Lumley. Dean Ganga, I think it was, with the goal. 1-1. Nightmare for Brentford. Bilic is well happy, and so he should be. I mean, West Brom haven't... I guess that's the quality that they've got. Dean Ganga's he's the kind of player that you need at this moment in time. It was a little through ball to the left-hand side, and then he's just sort of about, I don't know, just outside the 6-yard box on the left-hand side, and he's put it through Joe Lumley's legs. Good finish. Didn't really even celebrate, to be honest. Came straight out of it, and then headed back. Get the ball, they say. They want another one, because you would expect sooner or later Brentford will do something. But one thing I will say, actually, mate, I would be interested to know if you feel the same. And it doesn't mean any sense, actually, when I'm talking about QPR, because QPR can't be trusted to keep a lead. Oh, actually, Brentford are on the attack here. Ben Rama plays it out wide. They're in the penalty box now. Oh, it's on the edge of the box. Oh, no. Oh, and it's blocked again. I think that might have come off a defender onto the post, then came back out to a Brentford player. Not happening for Brentford at the moment. I'm trying not to smoke. Wow. I was going to say, the first goal, I think, in a lot of these games is really crucial. Because a lot of teams, when we play Barnsley, and West Brom are on the attack now here, it's just hit 45 minutes. Oh, and our right back's fallen over inside the box. Oh, I think we've got away with it. Yes, we have. Wow. It's all West Brom.
Oh, we nearly scored.
Nearly a goal for Preston, I reckon, from those groans.
I've got to say, we're up to 7th at the moment, by the way, as things stand.
Oh, goal disallowed for West Brom. Oof. And they've got a 12-year-old as a linesman today in the West Brom game, it seems. I've never seen a linesman look that young in my life. Big game for him. And was he offside? Yes, he was. He was offside. Robinson came from Sheffield United. Ex-Preston, didn't he? Of course. With the goal, but he was...
Great player.
Is he one of those that's always going to be caught in that kind of gap between the Championship and the Prem, do you think?
I hope not. I think the move to Sheffield United didn't make the most sense to me because he's best when he's playing on that left-hand side, and obviously Sheffield United play with those wing-backs and 2 strikers, so I don't think the system at Sheffield United was the best for him, really. I think if West Brom go up, I'd like to see them get him on the permanent, because I do think he can cut it in the Premier League. His last season at North End, he was absolutely ridiculous. He was next level. I think he was out injured for about 4 months, and he still got double figures that year.
What's his best position?
I think he's best on the left, cutting inside with his right foot. He can play up front, but I think the left's his best.
It is. God, they're just showing a replay from the Brentford. Unbelievable save from the Barnsley goalkeeper there. Amazing. Just sticks out his arm in hope. 6 yards out, Ollie Watkins. Oh, it's a great strong hand, but he hasn't palmed it away. He's always palmed it towards the goal, but it's hit the post and gone out. Absolutely amazing. Swansea out of the playoffs, people are saying at the moment. It's going to be half-time soon, guys, so we're going to be going to the chat. Any questions that you've got, make sure you get them in. The live stream and my computer at the moment is struggling a little bit, so I'm slightly wary of getting the old phone-ins in just yet. So I might leave that for now, but we'll focus on the chat once it hits half-time, and we can run through the permutations of everything that's going on, and we've still got ourselves a long way to go. Absolutely crazy. Wow. Yeah, if you're watching for the first time, make sure you go check out Ben's channel. If you're a Championship fan, it's everything you're going to need during the transfer window for both these teams. And yeah, if you've enjoyed this, you want more watch-alongs, be it the Championship or other things, let me know. Hit the like button and subscribe. And actually, the most important thing, I've got a big announcement actually at halftime, so I'll wait a couple of minutes. Something that's really big happening on Friday on my Twitch channel, which I can tell you all about. Oh, it's been a decent first half of games. I mean, we missed the first 10 minutes, to be fair. I imagine it was quite... But yeah, Callum Robinson, I mean, I don't think he's always been starting for West Brom. They've got a bit of an embarrassment of riches, haven't they, in terms of their squad there?
Oh, yeah, it's ridiculous, their squad. I think wingers they've got in their team. They've got Robinson, Diangana, Pereira, Phillips.
Yeah.
And even the strikers they've got, they've got Austin, who hasn't always been playing this season. Kenneth Zahor, who they bought in for quite a bit, and then Robson Kanu as well.
Half-time in the Brentford game, it is 1-0 to Barnsley, who are fighting for their lives to stay in the league. It actually probably, a couple of weeks ago, that game looked like quite a nice one for Brentford, and now it's certainly not. They've got a lot that they need to do. Yeah, you've got some people in the stands here. You've got Kieran Gibbs in the stands. Gareth Barry's in the stands. I don't know if Gareth Barry's retired yet or if he's still in the squad or not. But he's not. He's not in the matchday squad. And it's half time.
Did you get to do a crowdie at QPR? Did they offer that?
A crowdie?
Those little cardboard cutouts in the crowd you get.
Right. No. And I was quite okay with that. I'll be honest. Yeah, I was all right with that. I could live with that because it's just, I don't know, there's going to be one knob who puts forward something stupid and not ruins it, but just makes your club a bit of a embarrassment for a second. Like, we saw Bin Laden somewhere at some point. Things like that. Was it Leeds? I think that might be Leeds.
Yeah.
I like the idea of it. I get, it's a nice gesture.
Yeah, there's a few at Leeds. Yeah.
But I don't think I would have really been. I don't feel like I've missed out by not having a crowdie. I didn't even know it was called a crowdie. Yeah. Why did they have them at Preston?
No, they didn't offer it. I was a bit gutted. I'd like to see my face behind the goal, maybe, but.
I mean, that's a great question for the chat. Are you a Championship fan? Did you have yourself a crowdie?
I'd like to know.
Was it amazing? Was it amazing? Right, I just literally got, because I got the West Brom squad up here. Substitutes: Robson Kanu, Phillips, Chris Brunt, Krasicki, Townsend. Don't know too much about. Who's Townsend? What's the first name of Townsend? Don't know. Anyway,
Connor Townsend.
Charlie Austin, Harper, Bond, and Hagazi on the bench as well. Crazy. Our bench is lit. They are children. There's someone there I've never seen his name before. Ram Kilday. I've never ever seen that name before in my life. Wow. So there we go. Half time. Let's have a look at these the results as it stands. We'll go through it and get your questions in for myself and Ben. We can run through them at half time and your kind of thoughts on that first half. If you're a QPR fan or a Brentford fan or a West Brom fan, whoever you're supporting. So, Birmingham losing 1-0. They are on just the most disgusting run. Will Brazier, good friend of mine, big Brom fan. He's absolutely disgusted with what's going down at the moment. Bellingham going as well, which, I mean, we might want to talk about that announcement video of Bellingham. Wow.
Oh.
Hey! The way he said hey at the end. What are you doing?
That's going to follow him for his career.
I tweeted that. I literally tweeted that.
Yeah, it is.
I was like, this is not good for you, mate. This is not good for you. Yeah. So Birmingham losing at the moment. Is he playing in the game? Let's just have a quick look. He is. That'll be his last game for Birmingham. He's on his way to Borussia Dortmund. Funny old squad, that Birmingham squad. Spent lots of money at different moments. The rest, there's something Gardner's still there. Who's, I'm not saying he's a bad player, but they seem to they just love signing a Brentford player, it seems. A lot of their guys.
Yeah, I'm interested to see who goes in as their new manager as well. It's quite a job he's got on his hands there.
Well, yeah, I mean, Crowley's playing for him at the moment. Do you think there's a is it Cowley who might be in
No,
his way? What do you think?
the connection, yeah.
Do you think that'll do you see that one happening?
Potentially, I think a lot of the clubs are after. I think Chris Hughton's like the number one at the moment, isn't he? Because there's quite a few clubs that are going to be after a manager come the summer. But that, yeah, I could see that potentially happening. That may not be a bad one either, to be honest, for Birmingham.
Yeah, I think there's sort of stages of like evolution of getting yourself through the championship, and it could, at any point it can be taken away from you. You can have a couple of players do a little bit too well and get picked off. You could be like, I think there's been a lot of talk about QPR and the players that we've sold or we're going to sell and we're not getting enough money for them. But the problem is, with teams know now that we are still, as much as we say that we're not, we're still a selling club, and we need the money. And so when it comes down to it, you're still going to kind of lose some of those good players, and therefore you have to kind of go again. Birmingham are a funny one though, because they kind of, at times they've spent so much money, and then they still find themselves, the FFPs is that still hanging over their head? I can't remember what the latest was.
Yeah, I'm not too sure, but they are a bit of a funny club because they'll go through stages where it seems they've got no money to spend, and then out of nowhere they'll splash like 7 million on Ivan Sunjic or something like that. Like it was Jota who they bought from Brentford a while ago for quite a bit of money, him as well. So yeah, I don't really know what the transfer policy at Birmingham is, to be honest, but no, they go in flows, Birmingham.
Yeah, because what was it? Yeah, it was Maxine Collin, I think, Harley D,
Yeah.
and Jota. They all bought at the exact same time.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, they're good signings. Good players. I think you're there's a safety net to buying a Brentford player. You're okay. Because they don't recruit badly generally. They might not be good enough for Brentford, but they'll probably be good enough for the Championship. The bulk of them. I think they've even bought.
Yeah.
They've got Kit Kieftenbeld. I don't know if I'm just getting my names mixed up. I feel like that's an ex-Brentford player as well. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But anyway, they're losing to Wayne Rooney's Derby County, formerly known as Derby County. How did you find that? Wayne Rooney. Did you get to see Wayne Rooney play?
Not live, over iFollow.
Right. Yeah, I saw him. I saw him at Loftus Road, and it was amazing. It was an absolute joy, to be honest, just because he can't really move anymore, but he's still like the best player on the pitch. You can't almost take your eyes off him. You can see him kind of floating about and then picking up the ball.
He scored a great free kick against us.
Yeah, he's still got like real quality about him. But yeah, he's playing today. It'll be interesting to see if it's his last game for Derby, or if he'll be staying for another year. I'd be surprised if he stays another year, almost from a financial point of view. I guess it depends on what he wants to do as a coach. I was watching the Aston Villa game yesterday, and I wonder if I was looking at John Terry, and I was thinking, you know what? I think he's been quite smart here. He's seeing what different divisions are like. The pressure isn't on him totally, but he can kind of still be useful, and you can see the players go straight to him to hear what he's got to say. And it'd be interesting to see if Wayne Rooney's got that same brain in terms of articulating. That's the big thing, I think. I think a lot of players have great football brains, but they can't articulate it. Whereas I think John Terry can. I'd be interested to see if Wayne Rooney can do that. I'm not sure, if I'm honest. I'm not sure if he has got that in him. Rooney is staying, says Dylan Bell. Wow. They've done really well since he's come in, which I didn't think he would offer as much. But maybe, I don't know if it's... Do you put it down to him, or do you put it down to some of the other players? What do you think?
I didn't think he would have the impact that he has, but I think it's taken Koku a while to get his sort of philosophy across. I think we could always, even in the early stages of the season, Derby, you could tell that a philosophy was there when they could go forward, but things at the back just weren't quite working out for them. And then since January Rooney's come in, they got a great youth academy at Derby. I think they've probably got some of the most exciting youngsters in the league at the moment. Lewis Sibley, Max Bird, Jayden Bogle, who's fantastic. Going into next season, if Rooney does stay, Mel Morris is always going to be someone that puts a bit of money into the transfer kitty every now and again. I wouldn't be ruling Derby out from really going for it next year.
Yeah, that's the one thing I'm always a bit confused with Derby is how does the money continue? Like, how do they keep having enough money? I guess they've got a great ground there that's always full, and then they probably make a certain amount of money from that, which is at odds with
Yeah.
a QPR or a Brentford or Preston maybe to an extent. I don't know what your average tendencies are. But yeah, I'm always a bit confused to how where that money is coming from for them to keep bringing in those players. But maybe actually maybe they could be they've actually been quite cute with it with the managers that they've brought in. They've kind of brought managers who've got great contacts who are probably able to kind of instead of having to pay over the odds, you can actually just utilise the fact that yes, I am Philip Cocu, come and play for me, or Frank Lampard.
Yeah.
Frank Lampard did brilliantly, didn't he? I mean, it was a no-brainer for him to do it, to utilise him and Jody Morris. But I think there's anyone who's I know again it's Brentford buck the trend here, but generally anyone who's not using the loan market for me is missing a trick, because I just think there's such a gap.
I agree. I think that's something that maybe North End haven't done as well as we could have potentially under Alex Neil. I think a lot of the loan players that we brought in haven't quite been at that level. Like, you look at someone like Swansea this season, Brewster, Gallagher and Woodman have all been absolutely huge for them. I think if Swansea had Brewster for the whole season, they got him in January, I think they probably would have made the top 6, to be honest. He's had such an impact on them. Same with Gallagher as well. You really are missing out if you're not utilising these loans.
Yeah, I agree. We've had mixed moments with our loan signings this year, because you've got someone like Amos, who has played a lot, has been good. I think it's been good for everyone. I think he's probably a better player from before he came, but he's still maybe at a place where we might be able to get him another year, and they might let us have him because he has played some games. And then you've got someone like Jack Clark, who's not really played at all for us. It's been really strange, but he's not. When he's come on, he's not really done that much. But I think we got him at the wrong time. We got him at January. He's obviously a £10 million player, and I guess if we needed him, then we would have used him. But it got to a point, I think, where we were like, well, are we going to play this guy when we're safe? Or are we going to develop an asset and just find out if they're good enough for the Premier League or not? I think that's sometimes there's always stages of the season, and depending on your situation, different players are of use or will get game time. And a big one for us actually last year, Bright Sai Samuel was given that sort of 8-9 week period. They said, look, you're going to play every game here. Let's find out how good you are. Let's prove a point now, and then you'll be the starter next season. And he was. And I mean, even this season, there's been a bit of talk about his development in terms of he hadn't had the same kind of academy start as other players. But this period of season for a lot of sort of youth products, if for those mid-table teams, it is actually an opportunity for those guys to get a chance and play. Let's have a look at some of your questions then. Let's do it. Ace Clan, Cardiff are getting playoffs and not Swansea. That's just a dig. I don't think that's a question. How much does Jonathan Cragg? How much does Ben think Davids and Pearson are worth? Ben Pearson, love him. I love him and hate him.
You get these players very rarely, but when Ben Pearson does leave, I will be absolutely heartbroken from Preston. He is everything to us at the moment. He is the heartbeat of this team, and every opposition fan despises Ben Pearson, but Preston fans just thrive off that. He is the man. He is the man in this Preston side.
And you're absolutely right. Like, people hate him, but I'm always like, actually, maybe he's a bit of an exception actually, because there are those players like Bradley Johnson. Is Bradley Johnson? Yeah, he was always one of those players. He's always hated him. But Ben Pearson, I think there might have been just a moment with him where I saw him play against us, and he was just so good, and such a proper midfielder, isn't he? Absolutely proper midfielder.
I think a lot of people overlook his actual ability because he has a bit of a reputation about him. Like, people think he's just like the Championship League Catamol or something like that. But genuinely, as a deep line playmaker, you'll see. I watched a compilation on Twitter the other day. Some of the passes he makes into the final third and things like that. He's on a different wavelength to a lot of the other people in our squads, and he does have that capability of playing in the Premier League, which is why I think that we may have even seen his last game in the North End shirt. He's not playing today; he's out injured. Someone like Burnley has been sniffing around for the past 2 transfer windows. I think he'd be a very good fit. into a squad like that. But no, yeah, for a championship defensive midfielder, he's something else.
He's and to answer that question, then I guess, how much do you think he's worth?
It's difficult because this transfer window is obviously going into the last year of his contract, and the COVID situation as well probably plays in it. I'd be wanting at least I'd be pushing to 10 to 15 million, but we'll see.
Let's see what other questions are there. I don't know if I could just hear something in the background of your. I don't know what that is. It might have gone now, maybe.
I think someone else has joined it.
Oh, someone joined us. Well, that might be
Yeah.
good. Let's see if we can. Here's Robbie. All right, if we can do it, let's do it. Robbie, how are you?
What's up?
How are you doing, man? So, who are you? Who do you support?
Reading, man.
Ready, man. Okay. All right. You're playing Swansea. You're losing. I didn't think the phone in would work because we had such a nightmare with it. But this is great. This is wonderful because we can still see Ben.
Yeah, no, I just tested it out.
And you
Let me
came.
in.
That's great. Good man. So welcome. How are you? Are you watching your game then via iFollow?
To be honest, I mean, I kind of gave up a few games ago.
Did you? Yeah. I said what? Yeah, Joe.
I mean,
come
it's
support the real
not
hoops.
playing for anything.
Come support the real hoops. Come support the real R's. Queen's Park Rangers. I see what you're doing. It's clever. It's a good idea. Welcome. It's not having it. Who do you think's going to go up? Or have you got a question or anything, or are we just literally just testing it out?
I mean, I just test it out and let me in.
So if you've got nothing to say, Robbie, then go. All right.
Oh, I've got bad experiences with Reading. Reading away this season was probably the worst away that I've been on. It was such a long drive, and then we conceded in the last minute. It was Mark Bowen's first game in charge, and it was an absolute capitulation in the last minute.
Really?
I don't have fond memories of Reading away this season. No.
Reading, Robbie, here's a question for you. Are Reading where you expected them to be?
Not where we should be, but to be honest, the way we played, kind of deserve it.
So, what were your expectations at the start of the season?
So, well, right at the start, they weren't high,
Yeah.
but then we brought out of nowhere, we just spent a bit of money. And to be fair, Zhao's been pretty good, but injuries.
I think Reading have got a really good squad. I think if you manage to keep this group of players together and you gave Bowen a full, you could go under the radar a little bit. Like Ajari and Swift are very good in midfield. Zhao, if you manage to keep him fit. Raphael, your goalkeeper, I think is very good as well. If you add a couple more pieces to that, it's not an awful squad.
Because is Swift going to stay? Because he's one of those key men.
Well,
Yeah.
apparently he was close to leaving, but the owners, for some reason, they always seem to get in between deals, and they're gonna. I don't think they keep making them stay, but they're only selling if the right offer comes in,
Okay, mate.
which is probably going to be quite a lot, knowing them.
Well, Robbie, well done for testing out the Discord. Much appreciated. Thanks for joining us. And look, someone else has come in already. This is kicking off.
Another one.
Right, Robbie, I'll take you out, mate. But thank you very much for joining us.
Alright, bye.
See you, mate. Okay. So we have we've got someone. Here we go. We're cooking on gas now. Fish Wiggle.
Great name.
I think who's that you support? I'm trying to see from your profile pic.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, mate. Yeah.
Ah, Preston have conceded.
Oh dear. Who do you support, mate?
Derby.
Your Derby, man. So we were talking about Wayne Rooney's Derby County.
Oh.
I mean, he's not been as good in the last couple games. Against Forest, he was man marks.
How
So-
have you found him in terms of his lack of mobility? Has that been a problem for the rest of the team?
I mean, in the games against the top six, it's been a bit of a problem, but against the smaller teams, it's been fine.
Really? So I guess if you're dominant, he's great. But if you need some legs, then
Yeah.
he starts to struggle a bit. Okay.
Well, Liverpool have just scored.
I have that. Wrong division. Fish. We can't be talking.
Championship only.
They've scored. Who scored for them? I've got my fantasy football.
I don't know. It just comes with the notification.
West Brom are on the attack here. Ooh, West Brom nearly scored. So for those of you obviously watching, I imagine we're all watching at the same time. 47 minutes, or just going to 58 minutes in the West Brom QPR game I've got here, and actually 48 minutes 49 minutes now with the Brentford game. So the Brentford game is 1 minute ahead on mine. I don't know if everyone's got. I don't know if that's the same for everyone else. Have you got a question, Fishwiggle, or anything like that, mate?
No, I accidentally joined to the bar.
Did you? No worries, mate. That's okay. All right, bud. Well, yeah, thanks for joining us, mate.
Alright.
All right, mate. See
See you in a bit.
Cheers, fella. Okay. This is good to test out all this stuff. Because, actually, I haven't said this to everyone yet. I was supposed to say it at half time. Basically, on Friday, on my Twitch channel, we're going to be putting together a pilot of 12 hours. Oh, there's been a goal. There's been a goal, and it's West Brom are 2-1 up against Queen's Park Rangers. Someone come in.
How are you
Rob
feeling?
Turner's in here now. Oh, and Barnsley! Oh, just blocked by the Brentford player there. So I think it might be your man. Actually, Ben, it might be Robinson. Hang on, let me just see it. All right, here's the replay. So West Brom with the goal. They ended the first half pretty well after obviously us sneaking a goal. Dianganga was able to wriggle past Kai, which is pretty poor. He's put the cross in. Manning is not marking his man, and I think it's Callum Robinson yet who's got himself the goal. 2-1 West Brom. Not looking good for the Bees. Not looking good for Fulham. Oh, I don't know. Once again, I'm slightly annoyed. It's a really crap goal to concede. It's terrible defending all over the pitch. You've got someone literally coming through the sort of edge of the area through into the penalty box, totally unmarked. And you've got someone who's been able to wriggle past two players from a standing start with his back to goal to get past them. So I'm pretty annoyed at that. But, I mean, it does mean Brentford aren't going to. Rob is a Brentford fan, sort of. Well, he likes numbers.
Yeah.
Hi, Rob. How you doing?
My question would be, we all know Brentford have overachieved with their stadium size and how much money they earn. Do you think clubs will try and replicate this, or do you think they'll try and find their own way of doing it? And will they replicate it directly using the idea of finding value, or do you think they'll still trust their own ways?
Ben's disappeared. Why has Ben disappeared? How funny.
Oh.
See if I can get you back, mate. Let's see if you come back. Where are there you are. Great. Sorry, mate. So say that again. So
Oh yeah. So
go for it.
So Brentford have obviously overachieved for what they earn in the stadium size. Do you think teams will try and replicate what they've done directly using the idea of numbers and finding value in the market, or do you think they'll more stick to their traditional ways of how they've gone this season? Do you think? My question is, how much note and how much change do you think they'll get from what Brentford have done?
Ben, do you want to answer that one, mate, first?
I think if teams had like the capabilities of copying what Brentford have done, then they definitely go for it. But it's a thing that I've been quite an advocate for with North End for a while, of branching out the scouting network into Europe and things like that, because you do find much better value there. You know, we all know how overpriced the English transfer market can be and things like that. Some of the deals that Brentford have picked up in recent years are absolutely ridiculous. Like the sell-on fees they got for obviously Neil Maupay has been the recent one. Their forward three at the moment is absolutely ridiculous. So that if teams think they can do it, it's a great model to go off.
Yeah,
great.
I mean, I would.
But it's not. It's easier said than done. It's easier said than done.
I think that's definitely worth saying. Like, there has to be clear dedication to something like that, and that's the thing that you don't always see, because there are sort of shorter term fixes that can work for you. Like, for example, me and Ben were just chatting about the loan market. And what you would do with something like that. Now, Brentford don't believe in the loan market. They don't use it because they don't see the value in it, because you're developing another player that you don't own. You know, a bit like what I was saying about Jack Clark. He came and he could have been of use if we were, I don't know, maybe we're going for the playoffs and you need that guy to get you over the line. But once we're kind of reek of mid-table, you're developing an asset you're not going to see any return from. So Brentford don't do that. But that said, there might have been moments with Brentford where a loan here, a loan there might have actually got them over the line a bit quicker, but they're so dedicated to doing it this way that they are where they are, and they haven't been in the Premier League just yet. And actually, even someone like Pontus Jansson, it was a big departure actually from the kind of players that they've brought in over the last 10 years. They've normally brought a guy to develop again and again and again. They've not. There's been a few times where they've maybe gone for that more experienced player. Maybe Alan McCormack's one that they did a while back, who was kind of that sort of leader that they maybe needed. But they haven't done that a lot. So that method won't always work for everyone unless you can do it in a very, very deep-rooted way. And I don't know. I mean, I guess there's a reason to be that dedicated, though, because it's clearly working, isn't it? That's the thing.
I think the manager. I think Dean Smith was a real issue at Brentford because he listened to the recruitment, but he struggled to tactically adapt to the analysis that's being given. So, and Brentford really struggled defensively under him. So, also, do you think Dean Garner will stay at West Ham next year?
I would have thought. I think there's sorry, Brentford nearly scored. I would say that he would, because I think if David Moyes is smart with West Ham now, he finally he doesn't just give up on someone like Mikel Antonio because there's someone a bit shinier from another league over there, and Mikel Antonio's come from Tooting and Mitcham. Like, Mikel Antonio is a very good Premier League striker who might not look like, we talk about Moneyball a lot. That idea of that, the picture in Moneyball who looks funny, but he's actually of really good use. Mikel Antonio,
really good,
he's very, can be a bit jovial at times. He can sometimes it doesn't look the prettiest when he's playing, but he's a very good player. And there are a lot of players like that, I think, at West Ham that get lost because they're sort of chasing the next bracket up. Oh, sorry, West Brom.
I think West Ham are also scared of failure almost because they've had it so much, especially in the number 9 position.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, what position would he play for West Ham?
On the left hand side. Sorry, I thought on about Antonio. But yeah, I think he'll play on the left hand side. But then they've got options. Felipe Anderson hasn't been the player he has, but what about the Championship?
Yeah,
today.
Yeah, no, that's cool. No, but I think there's, I guess those are the big decisions, the brave decisions you got to make if you want to kind of bring those players through a little bit, because I think that's where West Ham are a little bit lost. They're caught between Championship team and a Premier League team, and there are Championship players who can really be of huge use to a Premier League team, especially a Premier League team that's not a top 6 side just yet. Because you do see the difference in the hunger. Like, as a QPR fan, I've massively seen that over the years. The players they just don't have the zip. They just don't have that desire to kind of do it. Whereas Jared Bowen or Mikel Antonio, players who've come from the Championship, they're really, they're pleased to be there. They give you that little bit extra. QPR are bringing on a player that I honestly have never read his name before, Marco Harbo Ramkilde, and he's coming on at centre-back. Now, West Brom fans, if you can't get the job done now, you do not deserve to go up. Because we just put... I don't know who this guy... I'm actually going to have to Google this guy. Who is he? I should know him.
So, suggesting it stays the same, who do you think goes to the playoffs? I think these last 2 results might question Brentford a bit more.
Centre forward. Sorry. That says it all. Danish, so he's probably good. Sorry, mate. What was the question?
So, with the playoffs looking more and more likely as they are, who do you think will go up out of Brentford, Fulham, Cardiff, and Nottingham Forest?
I mean, you've got to look at those top 2 sides, really, haven't you?
Those 2 results, though, might start to bring questions into Brentford. I don't think they'll question it. I think the fans might.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. I think Cardiff are really going to fly under the radar. I think the job that Neil Harris has done there, from where he took them over with, things with Neil Warnock ended up getting a bit stale and things like that. The impact he's had on that squad, I think he's been brilliant at using subs so far this season. If you look at the bench here, they got Murphy, Volks, Patterson. They got a lot of options from those sort of areas, and it's a bit of a different style compared to everyone else in the playoffs. So when you get those two opposing styles going up against each other, Cardiff will just grind it out till the end, and they may be a bit of a dark horse for that.
Yeah.
Because like you say, Brentford aren't on a particularly great run of form if they lose today. Still, Forest as well. I think it'll be 6 without a win if they lose today as well. So losing and something.
Yeah, I think I especially in it's a cup competition. You got to remember that. Like the QPR when we got through the playoffs, we were terrible. We were absolutely, we just sort of found a way and sort of ground out the results and did what was needed to kind of get ourselves over the line. Like I went up to Wigan away and we drew 0-0, and then at home we were okay, but it was just a sort of hustle and bustle game. And then the Derby game, they were, a much more fluent team, but we kind of just hung in there because it's a different thing. And the comparison I'd use is Man City. I think Man City and Pep Guardiola teams in leagues, they often they psychologically kind of grind down teams so that you're at a point where you've already lost before you've even started the game, really, because you're thinking, well,
that's a good point.
What are we just going to kind of not give it a go and try and hang in there? There's not the same grit to hang in there as there is in a cup competition where you're like, okay, all I've got to do, right, we just need to get to 90 minutes. And then the other side of that is the pressure that goes on the opposition when it's down to that 90 minutes. It's a very different kind of pressure, and that's the good thing for a team like Cardiff, because they will be generally quite a resolute team. I think the Brentford and Fulham, as much as you're trying to get in obviously into the Premier League today, I don't think you want to finish fourth. I don't think you want to play Cardiff. I think you're right. I think you want to play Forest.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how many times do we see the team that's third end up? I can't remember the last time I saw the team that's third go up.
Yeah. I mean, there is. I think there's a bit of a myth about that sometimes, and the kind of team that comes in sixth. But it is. I think momentum does play a part. But I also think there's a massive gap between that top 4 teams and the rest. So I'd be very surprised if it wasn't a Brentford Fulham. Oh! QPR 2, West Brom 2.
Calling it now.
What is happening?
Ebere Eze, who is so hit and miss with his finishing, put through on goal. Let's see who the pass come from. It's a great crossfield ball, and it's a great first touch to get him in front of his defender, and then he's just whacked it in the top left-hand corner. Great pass from Dominic Ball, who's been probably one of our players of the season. We've got him. I think Rotherham pretty much released him. Academy graduate from Spurs. He's got better and better as the season's gone on. But that finish from Eze, he could have rolled it into the corner. He smashed it into the top left-hand corner. And it's 2-2 now. And it's just got a little bit tastier.
Wow.
Especially if Brentford get themselves a goal pretty quickly. If you're Thomas Frank, do you tell Brentford the score? Do you tell your players the score?
No, I think you tell them. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not him. I'd be terrible in this scenario.
I think I think you use those moments. You go, they've conceded. Go.
Yeah.
Like get them concentrate on going to get the win instead of see it as an opportunity instead of see it as we're throwing it away. They're on the edge of the box actually at the moment. Oh, great block from Barnsley, who are defending for their lives at the moment. As it stands, you can see it on your screen right now. Barnsley still going down at the moment. Luton, is it 2-1 or 3-1? Are they 3-1 up?
3-1.
2, sorry.
Swansea scored.
Oh, Swansea scored. So just popped in. Swansea, have they just scored?
Yeah, Wayne Routledge.
2-1, yeah. Is that you, Robbie?
Yeah, I've actually got a question now.
Go on then, mate. So I quite like this open door policy that people popping in the back. Go on then.
Alright, so what's your opinion? What's your opinion on the Wigan and maybe Sheffield Wednesday point deduction? It's do you think it's justified and how do you think it will play out?
So Wigan is a
I know there's been confirmed, obviously.
Yeah. Sheffield Wednesday. I don't know, Ben, if you know a little bit more about this than I do. But there was a as much as about FFP in terms of spending too much money, is part of it down to the fact that they use their ground? Is that it?
I think for selling the ground to themselves for Sheffield Wednesday, do you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons. I think where the EFL's really messed up is the fact that this hasn't been sorted before the last game of the season. Like we'll get into a situation now where Barnsley find themselves, I think, in the bottom three at the moment. But if that Wigan point deduction is applied, Wigan will be going down. But Wigan have then done their application against that, which the final decision will be made in a week's time. So the EFL's messed up in the sense that it's not been sorted out before the final day, because it's a bit ridiculous for planning for next season and things like that while all this is still up in the air, isn't it?
Yeah, a bit. I guess it's difficult as well because once it happens, and like for 9 months of the season, for 9 months of the season, you're playing football, so it's going to be difficult to kind of keep anything under wraps. You're going to have a lot of that speculation, and then when are you going to kind of make the call on these things? I don't know. I mean, like say with QPR, there was. I found out on the walk to the ground after we'd won the league, and it was frustrating to have something like that going on. But I guess if you make a decision too quick, is that unfair as well? I don't know. It's tough. I think
I think the Wigan.
Go on.
I think it's a bit unfair because it's got nothing to do with the club. It's just some like dodgy deal that's been going on in like Philippines or something. And I don't think the EFL should have like. Apparently, he went like bankrupt at some point, so like he should have automatically failed the fit and proper test.
I think that's where there's a lot of confusion with this. And I think it's difficult because you want clubs to survive and thrive, and often that means you need a bit of money to come in. West Brom on the attack here, good block by QPR. You want people with new money to be able to come in, because that's what a lot of fans want to see, people coming in and spending money. That's quite enjoyable. But I think things that have happened with Bolton and Bury, and the sort of the need to be able to totally trust owners to safeguard their business acumen and their business wealth with what's good for the club and the sort of safety of the club. Like I think maybe less so with you, Ben, but because in terms of the ups and downs of maybe not being in the Premier League just yet, but certainly with QPR as this seasons go by, and I'm sure people can tell me in the chat, the guys that are QPR fans who are watching at the moment, you get to a point where you're like you just want to make sure you've got a club for 100 years. It's that kind of like the owner of Patagonia, like he has this. Bear with me with this analogy. The owner of Patagonia, his idea of his business is that he wants the business to last for 100 years, and if he lasts for 100 years, then it will have been a success. And so that kind of guides a lot of the decisions. And there's a lot of things are done for the quality of the product, not for the sort of quick fire gains or to be big, just to be big. I think that's the thing that a lot of football clubs, understandably, have kind of fallen into those traps. But the bottom line is for football fans, a lot of the time is you just want to still be hanging around, because when it gets to a point of you might not even be there anymore, that's pretty scary stuff. It's really scary stuff. So I think that needs to be kind of kept into account for all of these clubs, because you imagine Sheffield Wednesday going bust, or Bolton Wanderers. It was so close. And it's just there's so much history that's just going to be washed away. It's just terrible. So I don't know. I to be honest, Robbie, I probably don't know enough to truly give that kind of that detailed answer on it. But I think we've been done by FFP. Ours was a kind of a bit of a loophole, and I could see where our guilt was, but I could see where they were kind of understandably kind of taking advantage of the loophole as well, because there's such a gap between Premier League finances and Championship finances as well. That's the other big thing. So it is a tricky one. But kind of using the. Did
you just get a fine for yours in the end? At QPR?
Yeah. So our fine was it was sort of a big enough number that EFL and people were trying to keep financial fair play going. They were still sort of happy with what they looked like they were kind of putting the right punishment in place. But it was done over. I can't remember the exact time frame, but it was done over a good period of time. So that meant that that meant that it didn't. It wasn't going to cripple us, year on year on year. But I think at the same time, that's something that QPR fans need to remember as well. Kind of as much as we need to be getting, we're in that difficult position where we need to get. Oh, Charlton have just gone into the bottom 3, by the way. We need to be careful with what we're doing, basically.
Yeah, they could be out of it though if Wigan get that points deduction and don't get a goal.
Yeah, of course. Because the goal. So Fulham have scored a goal. Wigan are drawing with them now, and this is based on the points deduction, obviously. So if the points deduction is is held, then they're in the bottom 3. I mean, this is pretty cruel on, Barnsley. So the league table that you can see on your screens right now, that's without the change. I think, if I'm right. But yeah, that's the problem as well. Let's say a Barnsley, say it stays the way it is now, Barnsley stay up. How are Barnsley players supposed to feel? Like that's really cruel, isn't it?
Oh, if I was a Wigan fan, I'd be fuming there. Because since the restart, they've actually been probably one of the better teams.
Yeah, true. Yeah, no, you have. I mean, you beat us convincingly. That's where my frustration comes with QPR is we've played since the restart. We've played Charlton, Barnsley, Luton. Did we play Birmingham? I'm not sure we played Birmingham. We played Middlesbrough. We played a lot of Wigan, who were down there at one point. We played a lot of the teams down there. We could have been right up there if we'd sorted ourselves out, which is annoying. 2-2, so West Brom, QPR. So, yeah, as it stands, Brentford need to get their act together. They got 20 minutes to do it, and they're starting to look pretty frustrated. I'm not surprised. If they get one, I could imagine them getting one, and then it being pretty hectic in the last 10 minutes. Oh, dear me. So I'm just having a look at the chat here. A few people are saying, I've tried to make this announcement a couple of times now, but let me make it now. So, on Friday, there's going to be 12 hours. I'm doing a pilot for an idea I've got. And it's to create a radio station. And so to have 12 hours of football chat non-stop. That's what we're going to be doing. The idea and the name of it's called Buck Radio. And we've got really cool people. Ben's going to be on it. We've got Neve. Stumppeg is going to be involved. We've got Smith's going to be involved. Joe, you just asking there. Jaffin will be back, so make sure you're there at 12 for the start of it, because Flav will be there. We'll be doing a Jaffin podcast. Who else have we got there? We've got Rambo's going to be there with me. Lots of different people are going to be there. Who else is going to be there? I'm trying to think. Got guys from a Scouted Football podcast. Nico Morais is a really good journalist as well. Chris Pajak's going to be there. Paul Machin's going to be there. And it's going to be amazing. We're going to be talking football non-stop, and you guys are going to be involved. And there should be some... Oh, Brentford are through! Oh, blocked. There should be some gifts and giveaways, possibly, as well. They have scored! 1-1! So, just to get that off the ground, Buck Radio, my Twitch channel, this Friday, 12 hours of content. Going to be awesome. Jaffin does return. That is correct. So if you're a YouTube fan, you don't go on Twitch much. Twitch is essentially YouTube, but it's just constant live streaming on there. So don't be afraid of it. It's a really good, cool place. Come check it out, and I reckon you're going to enjoy it because there's going to be a lot of cool people there on Friday. But yeah, Brentford have scored. Wow, we did say it, didn't we, Ben?
Wow.
It's a cracking goal.
1 point between them.
Yeah. Woo-wee. Great goal. Just when they needed as well. You needed someone to step up and score a belter, and they've done it. God, my mate Dom.
De Silva.
He's
been very good on this season. He's been fantastic.
Not really known for those kind of goals, to be fair to him. He scored an absolute screamer there. So it's 82, it's 81, 82, 83 in terms of second place, third place, and fourth place. Wow. And there's some twists. There's still some twists, definitely. Sorry?
Is he on loan, I swear? Or he was at Arsenal?
No, I think they got him. They got them on a free, I think, in the end, didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, they might have paid some compensation for him, but yeah, great play this season.
Right, I think we've got some people wanting to ask some questions. So, Robbie, thank you, mate. Thanks for your question. Appreciate it, bud. Speak again soon. See you later, mate.
Alright, bye.
Your Ugly Nan. It's a good name. Do you have a question, mate? If you don't, bud, it's okay. We'll just take you out. No worries. Okay, put it back in the waiting room. So if you do want to talk to us, just go into the waiting room on the Allcott Ultra Discord. The link is in the description. If you've got a question for us and you want to have a little chat. Fish Wiggle, you're back. Have you got a question for us, bud?
What are Birmingham going to do?
What are Birmingham going to do? Ben? Answer to that one? It's quite a tough question.
In what sense?
With all the money, because they're probably going to waste it on like they're going to pay £20 million for Conor Hourihan, and then he'll get injured inside
Oh, what you're saying?
the pre-season.
Oh, right. You're saying they'll do something like that. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. They're not.
To be
they're
honest,
not linked with Conor Hourihan for 20 million, are they? Surely.
Right. Yeah. The Birmingham is the scope to work with this squad. Djukovic, I think, is very good. If you then look past that, Dan Crowley, I think, is very good if you utilise him in the right position. Jeremy Bella, I like a lot as well. If you sort out the defence and another goalkeeper, because I don't think, is Lee Camp staying on past this year?
I don't think. Yeah,
Really
he's a
not.
Derby fan, isn't he? So I'm not sure.
Another goalkeeper.
I don't know.
Sort out the defence there.
He's a funny one, Lee Camp. He's had a good career, isn't
And
he?
get Scott. If they sign, I don't know what to make of him really, because he'll have a masterclass and he'll drop a clanger out of nowhere, won't he?
Yeah, he was always
a funny
quite
one.
good for us. I remember I did work experience at QPR, and it was when Flavio Briatore was there, who's this sort of it's this owner who kind of got us in trouble a little bit. Anyway, Lee Camp was the goalkeeper, and he was like, the fans loved him, and then all of a sudden we just stopped playing, and we were sort of a bit confused. And anyway, this I was told by, I won't say who, but I was told that apparently he'd, at like a function or something, Flavio Briatore's wife had sort of taken a shine to Lee Camp, and Flavio Briatore, I'm not sure, I don't think anything happened, but like, they maybe flirted a bit or something at a function, and Flavio Briatore's like, get rid, I want him gone. That was the rumour. Don't know if it's true, don't know if it's not. No, that was the rumour. And he never played for us again. Never ever played for us again. But he was generally pretty good for us, Lee Camp.
Wow.
But yeah, I think it's a big club, Birmingham. It's a confusing club. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of good things about it. They're just like, I think they just need to get the right owners. I think that's where it starts, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Didn't Lee
Get the
Camp
manager
save like a last-minute penalty a couple seasons ago against someone? Was it QPR where it was like 4-0 to Birmingham and then
I remember
QPR?
I remember seeing a
I was
video
at
about
game,
that.
yeah.
I'm sure he did.
I was at
Yeah.
that game. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
We lost 4-3 last season. It might be this season. I'm trying to remember. But yeah, it was 4.
I remember seeing
3-0 down or
a
something.
Brummy Joe vlog about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Exactly. I went on his vlog. Yeah, he did. It was bizarre. That was, and Naki Wells, who, for us, losing him, I think we would have been right in the hunt for the playoffs if we'd kept Naki Wells.
Oh.
For a championship strike, he's great.
Him and Hugo were great together.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, I don't get why Premier League clubs are going to loan back players that are doing well out on loan and getting good game time, bring them back and loan them out again. Like, I feel like that's a bit stupid.
Mm. Yeah, it is. I mean, that's the beauty of the championship a little bit. There's there's a lot of different models being used because there's a lot more scope, I think, to kind of to do well. So yeah, I think that they need to get some stability there, don't they? They really do.
Because it's like last season, if Derby did worse and Wilson did better, he'd have probably gone up to someone like West Brom, and we'd have probably finished mid-table. But we got playoffs genuinely because of his quality.
That's it. I mean, that's it. You bring in some of those players, and it makes a massive difference. A massive difference. Again. We've had that conversation a few times tonight. That the sort of, when do you use the loan market? How many people do you bring in? But ultimately, with the gap between the Premier League sides and the Championship sides, if you make that move, and you have that kind of partnership maybe with certain clubs, like we've got it with Spurs, it would seem. You can do quite well out of it. You know, Preston's a similar kind of vibe because, you know, sort of near Manchester, there's a lot of clubs in Manchester. You can get some really good players on loan if you can get it right. I guess the big thing for Preston and for QPR is often it's the wages and how much you need to pay. But if you've got the right setup there and you play the right football, I think that's a good thing for QPR as well. Like us playing good football with Warburton at the moment, managers and players will go, yeah, okay, you can go to that team because you're going to play the right way.
No, it's something that makes a massive difference. I remember a couple of seasons ago we got Aidan McGeady on loan from Everton. He wasn't pulling up trees in the Premier League, but oh my God. Aidan McGeady that season in the Championship for Preston was, genuinely, he was something else. He was taking the mick every single match. We only got to see him for one season, but he was something. And it is that quality because the Premier League clubs can afford to, you know, stockpile so many players and then they can just allow them to go out on loan and things like that. But it does make the world of difference to Championship clubs, especially that are working on the budget.
Yeah, that's a great example. He's a great example of a player who doesn't look like he should be good, but is actually very, very good. He's a cracking player. Thanks for your question, mate. Appreciate it.
Yeah, alright.
Cheers, fella.
Alright.
See you in a bit.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Cheers.
Okay, next up, Ryan P52. Welcome. Unmute yourself, mate. And mute the stream just so that no one can hear that. And what's your name? Who do you support? And what's your question, man? Ryan? Can happen. He's there. I don't know if his mic's on. Doesn't seem to be. Right, Ryan, I'm going to take you out, mate. Figure out your mic, and if you want to come in, then you can. Dylan.
Hello.
Hello, mate.
Hello.
I was wondering what you thought of using the youth players to the academy build your team for promotion in the Championship, like Derby.
So, who do you support, mate?
Derby.
Derby. I guess, yeah. I mean, I think that's something you were saying, Ben, wasn't it? You were being impressed by the youth team players that they've had.
Yeah, Derby probably at the moment have got the brightest group of players coming through. Leeds, I think, have got some decent ones as well. But if you put the right investment into it, it's something that I think can be very beneficial, you know.
Sorry, mate. Brentford should have definitely scored there. Barnsley are defending. They've got every man in the penalty area. They are diving at the ball, and they've cleared it. Sorry, mate. Sorry, carry on.
I mean, I always go back to North End because it's obviously the club I support, but it's one thing where we've probably been lacking in. Like the last sort of decent academy player that we had come through has been Ben Davis, and we look at it now. He's our most established centre back. He's got that potential to sell into the Premier League. Apart from that, we don't really do too much in that area. Some of the other clubs, Reading, I think, have done some good stuff with youngsters at the moment. I think they've got some decent ones coming through. Middlesbrough as well. So I think if you got the right sort of catchment area, I don't see why not. But Derby, I'd say are probably leading the way for that at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I would chuck us into the hat of that. A few people in the chat saying, I think Adam is just saying there, Adam Bridden, QPR such an underrated academy. I think we've really turned ourselves around because we've kind of had to.
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing with us. Is that often it's a much easier route to try and spend that money elsewhere. But I do think some clubs are they're almost jaded. They're just tired of wasting money on people that just annoy you. And actually, I mean, I guess I'd throw it back to you, Dylan. Has it got to that point with Derby a little bit? I think Wayne Rooney, I think the good thing with him, he just loves playing football. So he's sort of, he wants to be there and he's going to put the effort in that he can and he's got some quality. Yeah. But over the years, you spent a lot of money, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely. With with Mel, our owner, he for the last few seasons he's just spent silly money on players like Johnson for 8 million and Butterfield. And it was kind of getting to a point where we, because we missed out on promotion the last few years, we sort of had to change the model. And with him investing into the youth and like us winning the youth Premier Leagues, the Premier League last year in the youth team. It's sort of like it's a change to because when we were spending money, it just wasn't working, so we had to do some sort of change.
Yeah.
And building with the youth, it can be more sustainable and actually make us, if we do go up in the coming years, like stay up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's the word, isn't it? Sustainable, because they're literally, unless you're going to be in a deficit if you spend the money that the top 6 clubs pay for players, but don't have the rewards of being in the Premier League, because the money in the Championship is so different. I think you see that more and more and more in terms of the teams that are coming up and how difficult it is for those guys. You kind of, there's often, those teams that come up from League One, you quite often kind of look at them and go, two of them, 3 of them. Whereas I reckon about 10 years ago, you wouldn't have said that, because there were a lot of teams. I mean, maybe it was a different cycle of the sort of finances of the Premier League, but you had, Portsmouth, Southampton. I mean, obviously I know Portsmouth's still down there now, but Southampton were down there, Leeds were down there, Leicester were down there, Wolves were down there, Birmingham were down there, we've been down there. So you kind of, when those teams were coming up, you were a bit kind of concerned. Whereas now, teams, if we're honest, Luton, Barnsley, we expected them to be down there. Charlton and the other team I think that came up, so they've struggled a little bit as well. So if you haven't got there's no way you can keep the money, I would imagine. That's where I keep getting confused, and maybe that's where we're seeing it with Sheffield Wednesday and Birmingham, is trying to keep it alive, the dreams of being ambitious, but you can't do it because you haven't got that Premier League money to kind of spend like the top 6, 7 teams spend. And so if you are in that situation, the only way there's 2 roads that you can turn to, your own academy or loans. That is it. But loans are getting more and more expensive now, aren't they? That's the thing.
Yeah, but the problem is with FFP, even when you get the big owner, they can't always invest that much. So even if you get a rich owner, it doesn't always automatically mean you can get promoted with it.
Yeah.
So like, loans and using your academy are more sort of like reliable ways to go up if you can do them correctly, obviously.
Yeah, I think that's the sort of that's the confusion, and actually the other side of the story when it comes to FFP that I don't think people were focusing on for a long time. They were kind of going, Man City have got loads of money, so kind of stop them. But Man City fans will be going, well, we've got lots of money and we're not we're not as big as these other guys, so why can't we spend it? So because there's it's actually advantageous to those big teams that have got the big incomes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas
definitely.
Whereas say QPR, that was the kind of deal with us, as we had the money to go for it, and we'd gone up, and then FFP had kind of come into being in a bigger way, and we were caught between the two. We were caught between it's the same with say an Aston Villa. If Aston Villa go down, they spent 100 million, but they really had to spend 100 million.
Yeah.
They'd lost a lot of players, and you can't.
Yeah.
Who else are you supposed to buy? What are you supposed to do? Because that's the other thing. So when you get into the Premier League, you can't. We've seen it with anyone who watches my Football Manager series. There's only so many loans you can get domestically as well. So that kind of gets lost in it as well. So you've got to kind of build a squad that's good enough without using the loan market of the Premier League, which is a massive asset and pool of players to lose, because you've got players that know the country, know the style of football, know the language. So the only thing you can do now is uproot players from other countries, and that's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. So yeah, it is about the youth. I think the other thing as well, in terms of the youth, is what I've noticed with QPR is I give these players a bit more of a chance, and I'm desperate for them to do well. I'm not. I don't see for a QPR fan to not talk about the players being money grabbing players. That's something that's gone on for a long, long time, and that's not something that you can label at this squad.
Yeah.
Because the money isn't there, and they weren't brought in for money, and they're all young players. So I think that's always for the harmony and the connection between the fan base and the players. that's quite good in terms of kind of going big on the youth as well.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll be able to keep hold of your Derby players?
It's I'm not entirely sure really because well, like Bird, who's been one of the better ones, has been linked with Chelsea, but like you don't really know if you don't know whether they're going to go for them after one season or even half a season in some cases. So like I'm kind of confident that with most of them, especially like Sibley, who's only played a couple games, that we can keep them at least for the next year.
Yeah.
But going forward, if they carry on playing like they are, probably not, to be honest.
Thanks for your question, Dylan. That's cracking. That was a really good question.
Right.
Appreciate it, mate. Thanks
Cheers.
for watching as well. Thanks everyone who's watched it. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, then as I say, hit subscribe, hit the like button, and if there's going to be loads more footy chat on Friday on my Twitch, and there's loads more championship chat on Ben's channel all the time. So go check out Ben's channel. Who's that chat anyway? That's Dylan. Did you have something to say there, mate? Or is he gone? Oh, he's gone.
No, it's Barnsley. We're going to score.
Oh, right.
And they are now. Oh.
So yeah, that's what I'm going to say now, guys. If you're in the chat, then I'm going to take you out now. So it's just going to be me and Ben for the last few minutes because we're in the 90th minute of the Brentford one. Oh,
Have you seen the top 6?
what? Swansea in there? What's happened? Oh, I've got to unpause. What's going on? Chaos. Oh! Is it? It is! Barnsley have scored! Barnsley have scored! Wow!
I can't keep up with all of this.
Barnsley have just scored. Brentford will not be going up unless they can do something pretty special now. West Brom are attacking. It's 2-2 in that game. Wow. What a counter-attack. Great play on the left-hand side. Great little ball. It's a good goal. They haven't cleared the lines. It's not the worst of cross. It's a lucky little touch. And then he's got his cross in, put it across the face of the box. And they've scored. Barnsley 2-1 up. I had a funny feeling they were going to do something. Schmidt puts it across the 6-yard line. They have a look at the linesman. They're wondering, is it a goal? Is it offside? It is a goal. Is that Odor? Wow. Bloody hell.
I can't.
So Wigan, Fulham.
I am shocked.
I mean, are Fulham still in this at this point? I mean, I guess they're not. They need us to score. Fulham need us to score, and West Brom to get a goal themselves. They've got a corner though, West Brom. Here it comes. It's gone in. Goalkeeper claims it, so it's fine. Wow. Swansea, as you were saying.
Forest need a goal.
Forest need a goal. It's on goals scored, I think. Yes. 62 goals from Swansea. 58 goals is it from Forest. Same goal difference. But Forest, it's 4-1 to Swansea. Routledge, 90+1. Only in the Championship. Barnsley, if Wigan get...
How have Forest bottled this?
Forest will be fuming with themselves. And it was said on the Not the Top 20 podcast, got to give them the credit for it. They said, look, if it doesn't work out, that formation change, that sort of idea of, oh, look, we're trying stuff for the playoffs, could come and bite them. And wow, has it bit them. Amazing. They need themselves a goal.
That's unbelievable.
Stoke City beating them 3-1. Stoke City breaking more hearts again. But for Brentford, it's an absolute disaster. Last ever game at Griffin Park, remember? Let's not forget that either. And it's a club that there's been a lot of heartbreak with this club. They've been very unjustly treated a lot of the time with certain things. Doncaster back in the day had great teams that have been unlucky in the playoffs in the past, and they're going to have to play in the playoffs again. Unless, they've had a little curling shot there, but it doesn't go in. I was concerned that QPR might play a part in Brentford going up. I didn't want it to be that way. And it looks like, even though QPR are currently hanging on for a draw, although they are attacking, and Callum Robinson's going into the corner now, so they seem kind of happy with a 2-2 draw.
Wow.
Which is
Wow.
anyone
It
who's
does the job, but
yeah, it's a brave call. It's a very brave call. If Brentford get a goal pretty quickly. Brentford, I mean, to be fair to them, we're on to 94 minutes now. We're on the 93rd minute of 5 for West Brom. Someone's just come on. Thanks for that. Who's that? It's Robbie, I reckon. Very good. See you, Robbie. Thanks for that. We're right near
so
the end now.
the playoffs, we could either have a full London final or a full Welsh final.
Yeah, full
That
West
is unbelievable.
London. Full West London as well. Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah,
I mean,
that is unbelievable.
It's Middlesex. But anyway, the Joseph Gold, who's a youngster for us, is coming on for these last few minutes. Not long now. 20 seconds left. And Barnsley are going into the corner because this is as good as it probably could have got for them. Luton have survived, by the way. What a story for them. 3-2, actually, Luton Blackburn at the moment. So if somehow there's a goal, I don't know if... is that full time? No, 90 plus 3 in the Luton Blackburn game. So if Blackburn somehow get themselves a goal in that game, then Barnsley could be legitimately safe now, today. If not, it could be down to the Wigan administration and their appeal. Wigan are drawing 1-1 with Fulham at the moment. 90 plus 5 in that game. So there's a few full times. Sheffield Wednesday have lost 2-1 to Middlesbrough. Warnock getting a victory there to finish off the season. Barnsley are defending for their lives here. They've done so well. Nottingham Forest and then Brentford as their last 2 games, and they've got maximum points. 6 points from those 2 games. Absolutely brilliant. QPR, it doesn't look like much is happening there. I think it's coming to the end. And it is the end, is it? I think it may be. No, we're still playing. Thought it was the end in the Brentford game. There's a Barnsley player on the floor. I think he's quite happy to be on the floor at the moment. And as it stands, if the Wigan administration and therefore 12-point deduction is on its way...
Oh, Stoke have scored again.
Really? It's over for Forest.
4-1.
Wow.
That is a capitulate. I cannot... They've had this playoff place on lock since the start of coming back to football, really.
Amazing.
They've been resting players, resting up for the playoffs. They've been on an awful run. And against the Stoke side who had nothing to play for.
Yeah, Millwall with a 4-1 victory. And it's finished. Queen's Park Rangers 2-2. So they did do what... they did do Brentford a favour. Brentford... I mean, throwing it away is not fair. It's not giving the credit to Barnsley, but what an opportunity. You're playing a team that's, second bottom at the start of the day. You've got to be looking to get that victory there, but it's not going to happen. Barnsley have generally been pretty safe. West Brom, the owner there, is just waiting for the final whistle from this Barnsley game. They're on the phone. They're waiting to find out if they are a Premier League club once again. Up and down, such a yo-yo team. Too big for the Championship. Too small, or not unable, got good enough to stay in the Premier League for too long. Although they had a good run last time, let's be fair. But I think, that was done. That's 97 minutes now. Surely now it's pretty much over for...
It's got to be.
It's got to be over, hasn't it? And Barnsley have just done brilliantly. And you're almost... I guess the only other one is Luton. Luton are still playing 90 plus 7 minutes. It's 3-2. 90 plus 8 minutes in the Brentford game. Birmingham are losing 3-1. Birmingham have got away with it massively. They really have.
Yeah, they have.
I guess, there's no way that they can go down, I don't think. They needed Charlton to get themselves a victory. Barnsley got the victory. Yeah. And it's done. They're running onto the pitch. They're celebrating like they've stayed up. The West Brom, Callum Robinson, who got the equalising goal. It was the leading goal at that moment in time to put them 2-1 up against Queen's Park Rangers. They are back in the Premier League. And for Brentford, Fulham, Cardiff City and Swansea City from nowhere after getting themselves a 4-1 victory and Nottingham Forest losing 4-1 themselves at home. That's Swansea 4-1 away. They are now in a 6-goal swing. They are now in the playoffs. And I tell you what, you talk about momentum. You talk about
Wow,
where you
yeah.
finish, and if it's tough
Yeah.
to be the third place team. From nowhere now, I think we wouldn't have said this even 90 minutes ago. Brentford, as good as they've
No,
been,
not at all.
go into the playoffs, and they'll be playing a Swansea City side that are flying. Football's a funny old game.
That's such a tough game for Brentford because they switched up the system recently. Swansea as well. They've gone to this three at the back, which just suits them.
Right.
The forward three, Gallagher, Brewster, and AU are fantastic. I cannot believe they snuck in there.
It's absolutely incredible.
Forest must be fuming.
Queen's Park Rangers getting a draw. Very happy with that. Very, very happy with that. Wow.
Can I just say,
Yes, Clarky.
yeah,
Welcome.
Joe Worrell is the reason Nottingham Forest have not got into the playoffs, because in that derby game he gave a free kick away in the 90 plus
Yeah, I
like
remember.
6th minute, and
Yeah.
2 points now. You know,
Are you? Who do you
but then
support,
Forest
Clarky?
fans. I'm an Arsenal fan, but I live in Cov,
Right.
so I've got like quite a few ties to the Championship at the moment because my dad lives in Hull as well.
Oh, right.
So, yeah, to be honest, I just joined because I wanted to hear Ben talk about good players in the Championship,
Yeah.
because I want Arsenal to throw the Championship this summer.
Okay.
Because
You can have Eze for 20 million if you want him.
that's what I want actually. Because
Eze,
obviously I've
yeah.
seen like a Madison kind of player.
Yeah,
Because
maybe a little.
look at the impact Madison had on Leicester. If Eze can come in and not replace it, I'm not saying he's going to be as good as Ozil, but if he can come in and just do a job and get us back to where we want to be, you know, like if you look at like Vardy and players that have come up from the Championship in recent years, like there's definitely quality there that hasn't been noticed before.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
Pearson, like I think if he went to Southampton, if they lose Højbjerg, I think that'd be an amazing signing. Southampton,
Yeah.
especially.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
got better and better, hasn't he? I guess part of that's through Hasenhüttl, though. He's been brilliant with them. But yeah, I mean, it's a disaster for Nottingham Forest. Their fans must be absolutely fuming. You know, even just what was it, 2 goals it's ended up with. You know, even if they just behave themselves in this game against the Stoke City team that is playing for absolutely nothing away from home, to lose 4-1 to a team like that has struggled to score goals is a big surprise. Big surprise.
Stoke have got good players though, and I think next season I think Stoke will be up there because they've got like Vokes and like players that know the Championship. So
That's what I thought as well. I thought that at the start of I backed them to finish in the playoffs this season, to be honest. Obviously, things under Jones didn't work out, but O'Neill seems to have got them going now. Defensively, I think they're a lot more solid.
an
But
attitude
yeah, they've
thing,
not got a bad
I
squad at
think.
all, really.
It's massively an attitude.
It is.
That's
No, it is
because
completely.
that's the problem as well. You get flabby, demotivated players that are used to playing in the Premier League, and when you come down, it is tough to acclimatise. And you're everyone's cup final.
Yeah.
You're everyone's cup final. It's really
yeah,
difficult.
like Jack Butland, I think that's the prime example, isn't it? Like look what fall from grace he's like. I think he should have been England #1 before Pickford came around, and now he's like what, number 12 or something like that. Like all the players ahead of him. It's just
Yeah.
but yeah.
I mean,
I think
The three
James
that come down from the
Chester.
Prem this time. It'll be interesting to see how they get on.
it's a cruel.
James Chester done this season for Stoke. I think James Chester might have like tipped it over. Like, I don't know why Villa loaned him out. Like I think he's better than Mings, James Chester.
Really, wow.
Like that's kind of, because like
Yeah,
you think
just
like
been
he
unlucky.
was their captain as well. So
Yeah.
it's just but yeah.
Clarky, thank you, mate. Appreciate it. It's a good point.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers, fella.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Keep up the good work, lads.
Thanks, man. Thanks a lot. Right, guys, we're
Cheers,
going
pal.
to come to the end of this. We get our kind of final thoughts from both of us, and I'll read some of the bits in the chat. So have your final thoughts in the chat right now. If you've enjoyed this stream, as I say, hit that like button. Very importantly, got to say, a whole 12 hours of football talk on my Twitch channel. Chris Pajak, Paul Machin, Ben, the man in front of you right now. I'll obviously be there.
Come
We're
on.
talking about FPL, talking about all sorts of stuff. Smiv's going to be there. Flav's going to be there. Loads of cool people. Nini FC, who's a really, really great Chelsea fan, but knows so much about football. 12 hours of good fun of football chat. So make sure you come and join me for that. Final thoughts then. I'll just run through again what's kind of happened as we come to the end of this season where, let's just run through it and then I'll kind of give my final thoughts and you give yours, Ben. Hull City finishing bottom, which I think we just all kind of expected from a few weeks ago. They just fell like a stone. Charlton Athletic, who've had a real go at it and been pretty unfortunate. You know, that's it really is that marker in the championship. You need to get yourself 52 points to be safe in this league. It's the same every single season. But actually 48, 49, 50 is pretty high for those guys. So they can find themselves maybe a touch unlucky there. Be interested to see how they get on and what Bowyer wants to do. Barnsley, if the Wigan 12 points is upheld, and they're going to push and push and push even more so now. I think the EFL would have much preferred Wigan to have been fine regardless.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you put it over into the next season and no one ever speaks of it again, but you're going to have to speak about it again because if it is 12 points, then Wigan will be in League One. And for Barnsley, if it is them who goes down, that is very cruel after beating Forest and Brentford in that final game. Amazing stuff. Luton as well, mentioned for them. They've done so well. They were right down there with a couple of games to spare as well, and they've got themselves out of it. So congratulations to them. QPR mid-table as always. Stoke City will be relieved. Middlesbrough will be relieved after the amount of money and the size of their squad as well. Huddersfield Town as well. You got to remember coming down. Have got themselves out of it. Be interested to see what they do with their managers. Like we've just been talking about there, Forest finished 7th. No playoffs for Forest. Swansea City sneak in there and will be a very strong proposition for Brentford, who finished 3rd. Weren't able to get the job done. A victory would have done it. A victory, because QPR got a draw against West Brom, would have put them in the Premier League for the first time in their history in the last game at Griffin Park. But it won't be the last game at Griffin Park now, because they will be playing Swansea City in the playoffs. Fulham will be playing Cardiff City. And Leeds United are champions and West Brom are second place, which I think at the end of the day, do you think that's a fair final 6? And yeah, do you think it's fair at both ends of the table right at the end there, Ben?
Starting out at the bottom, I think, like you say, I think we all really saw Hull going down their form in 2020. Since they sold Bonin Grosicki, they were only going one way. Charlton, I do really feel for. I think that Lee Bowyer's had a really tough job there this season with, players leaving. They had Conor Gallagher at the start of the season, the Lyle Taylor contract issue. They've had to bring in a lot of youngsters, and they, like you say, they gave it a real good go. I think they've been very unfortunate. Barnsley, absolutely massive for them. Struber, since he's come in, done an absolutely fantastic job in turning that around. Luton as well. Jones, since he's come in since the lockdown, they've been such a tough side to go up against. Wigan, desperately unlucky, because since the start of the year, really, I think Paul Cook there has done a fantastic job, and we may see now from Wigan a bit of a fire sale with some of their players, which is, a real shame. They got a real talented group in there. For the top 6, a quick mention to Preston North, they're 9th place. We'll take it. We'll move on to next season. But then the top 6, the capitulation we've seen from Nottingham Forest. I mean, today was awful, but since the restart, really, Forest have been pretty average, but they thought they had that top 6 place in the bag. They've just about been coasting along, and today it's come back to cost them. That one's really going to sting. But I am happy for Swansea. I think that Cooper there has done a really good job there. He's been bringing up a lot of youngsters, and considering some of the injuries that they work with, he's done really well. Neil Harris at Cardiff, excellent job as well. And you've got the 2 London boys in there. It's going to be a very interesting playoffs. Right now, looking at that, I don't know who I'm backing as my favourite, because like Brentford have fallen off a little bit recently. Fulham, you never really know, the 2 Welsh clubs. West Brom and Leeds, then we got as the top 2. Get over the whole season, I think these 2 have been the outstanding clubs, consistently at the start of the season. I think like West Brom, they went unbeaten for like the first 15 games of the season or something like that, ridiculous. So over the course of this season, it's probably fair. The only injustice there being like Wigan with the points deduction, but this is why we love the Championship. It's drama like this right until the very end.
Yeah. So, guys, we are going to let the dust settle, but Ben, as I've said a couple of times now, will be on Buck Radio, the pilot of Buck Radio, on my Twitch channel. We're going to be chatting we've got Gabriel Sutton, who knows the EFL fantastically. We've got Elliot Hackney's going to be on as well, if you're a Championship fan. We've got Neve Stumpeg. She's going to be on as well. She's going to be hosting one of the shows as well. And so we can talk about the playoffs. We can talk about the teams going up, the teams going down, teams promoted, all those things on Friday from 12. Final thing to say, go subscribe to Ben. It's such a cracking channel that he's got. So consistent, very knowledgeable, cracking bloke. And first time we've actually been able to sit down and chat. It was easy once we actually got it going. It was good.
Yeah, we got going in the end. We
did, fella. So yeah, thanks a lot, mate. Appreciate it. Thanks to everyone who watched it. If you've enjoyed it, final comments from you. I did say I was going to do that. Connor Foster's just glad it's finished. Don't know if he means the stream or the season. Congratulations to West Brom, says James. Best 12 hours of quarantine, I guarantee it. I think he's hopefully talking about the stream. Ethan McLeanan says, at the Fulham, Connor Foster, we are Stoke. Michael O'Neill, he drinks whiskey, he drinks the Guinness, he hates the Vale, apparently, according to Ben. And lots more. So yeah, once again, massive thank you. Come and join us on Friday. I hope you enjoyed this one. We'll see you next time. All the best. Bye-bye. I've got to turn it off now, guys. This is the awkward bit.